Hello, buddy, this is Purge, and I'm bringing you, that's right, it's a fucking replay commentary. I know it's been approximately 6 months since I last did one of these, but I played some games off stream the other day, yesterday. I was like, hey, these are pretty good games. Oops, there's someone else. I would like to make some replay commentaries for you guys, so here we go. Alright, this game, I had a laser beam coming out of my head, and it just shot everywhere randomly. Okay, it stopped. I played this game with Aosin, Merlini, Cap, and I think Perry is Gyrocopter. He played very well, I found. Starting item-wise, I generally buy like 2 sets of regen right now, a little bit of mana regen as well. Sage's Mask is a good way to get your mana regen up. Raw stats can do it well too, but I figured that I was going to try to outspam these guys a bit because that's kind of Oracle's job. I'm also against a Timber Saw, and Timber's basically the only way he's going to die is by magic damage. Oracle has really low base damage at 42 average, so me right-clicking him isn't going to do much. One thing though is I did notice that the Earthshaker had no regen items, so I wanted to trade with him as much as possible. So I'm spending the beginning of the laning stage here first to watch him because I think I saw that he had a ward. Yeah, I did. I saw that he had a ward, so I want to follow him, see where he's going, and then harass him as much as I can with nukes. Now I see that he's pulling the creep wave, so I want to channel this as high as I can. That way the root duration is as much as possible. The creeps will hit him more, I will hit him more, that kind of a thing. Luckily for me, he also ran away from the small camp, which means that I got decent damage in. When he almost turned back to me, I almost decided to go fight. Luckily he de-aggroed there, so he was able to pull the creep, or the creeps went on the creeps, so his pull didn't actually accomplish anything. And for now, since his camp is already blocked, which I did before runes spawned, I just wanted to make sure that he didn't block my small camp yet, which he did not. And once again, just trying to throw nukes into him to keep his HP low. That way it lowers his chances of being able to contest right now. And harassing the Timber Saw at this point in time is totally fine, because he's only got level 1 reactive armor now, so his raw HP is not that high. This was an okay opportunity for Aosin to maybe come up and hit, but because Timber got aggressive in the same moment, then it ended up being less good. What I'm basically just trying to do right now is if the Earthshaker continues to play like a coward, always to the right, then what I want to do is stack the small camp if possible. So I'm going to stack small camp and then run towards where Earthshaker is. That way if he does come to contest it, he won't be able to do so. And I did get a small camp stack off, which is great for me. Not too worried about him hitting me twice here. It's a little bit of damage by all means, but again, any trade is good when he only just now got tangos. I think he just, I don't know if he got a tango from enemies or not, but he just now noticed that that the small camp was stacked. And because the creep wave is pushing in right now, this would be the worst possible time for me to end up stacking this camp, or for me to end up pulling. It's a bit scary, because I can't run through here. I could eat one of these tangos, but in reality, it wouldn't cut me through all the way, so I needed to run to the right. I was very pleased that I did not die here. They already fissured, so he's not able to break my salve. And now I'm just gonna again cast a spell while I create a little space while I'm healing. Just so that Earthshaker feels like he has to run away, because if he doesn't run away in that moment, then he gets rooted under tower and they're gonna have a bad time. I'm gonna use a spell here to aggro, because if I don't, then I won't be able to begin the pull in time. Unfortunately for me, he messed up the pull a little bit by pulling some of the creeps, but I was still able to get the range creep, so that'll be denied, which is great. So in that case, it's worth it for me to spend 80 mana just to aggro that, because I know now that that range creep will get denied. So this is like the best thing you can do as a support if you're playing against Timber Saw, because killing the hero is not simple in the slightest. It's a little bit easier if you don't have a melee hero, a melee strength hero especially, because Wraith King does physical damage. Whirling Death is going to reduce the amount of strength he has, and therefore the damage. And because he does all physical, basically, then the high armor that Timber Saw has is going to be really effective at denying me. Now, Aosin almost died here, which would have been bad, obviously. But the upside is that I was able to get my pull off in the meantime, so all of these creeps are now going to die over here. So this is basically the biggest thing you can do to undercut a Timber Saw. He basically wins the lane against your team, but the upside is that if I deny creeps to a pull, then he's going to lose a level, basically, which is what happened here. And I'm really not concerned at all about him running at me, because, yeah, he can lower my int temporarily. This is why I used Mango and Magic Stick here, because temporarily my int is lower. It'll mean that they'll be more valuable now than in the future. But we basically just want to, like, continue Aosin getting last hits. We want to potentially mess with him if possible, but, like, ultimately, it's not a huge deal for him to do this. This is, like, normal Timber style stuff, and it might feel really bad, but this is, like, what you should expect here. I wanted to get my items. I don't remember what was on here. He really should have killed these, but yeah, it was a Ring of Basilius, which is going to increase my mana regen by 0.8, which is pretty good. And now I'm just trying to disable him while we mess with him while he's with the creep waves. We just want to make it difficult for him to end up killing the creep waves. And I'm just going to pull these off tower as soon as possible. That way Aosin does not have to worry, or that way our tower doesn't take quite as much damage. Now it's very common as an offlaner, if you're highly resistant, to pull them into the small camp. So what I'm going to do now is try to get as many of these last hits as possible so that Timber does not get both. Normally what happens is the offlaner, when he does this, he'll be able to get more last hits, but I didn't want to allow this. I was late to do this pull, but I did manage to do it, so this was really, really effective. Because eventually, if he's far enough away from Timber, they will get de-aggroed. And then I ended up denying now another 3 creeps due to this. They did deny my sentry ward, but the fact that he lost 3 creeps there basically made this whole like little battle we just had like really detrimental for him. And now because my camp didn't respawn, that means for sure that they blocked the camp. So I'm gonna put my sentry down. I get lucky and find their observer ward too. I could have potentially put that down earlier if I kept track of like whether Earthshaker placed his ward or not. But if we look at the total last hits, Timber's at 19, everything's actually at 32. So we're pretty confidently doing super well in this lane. Because I have an abundance of mana, I use my 3rd skill, Purifying Flames, which heals him over time, but I immediately use Fortune's End. So he basically gets hit with 280 magic damage of nuke, which is going to put him low. I knew that he didn't have HP regen, so this is going to put him at such a low point that he's just not going to feel comfortable to contest at all. In my opinion, that guy's playing a Cavern Crawl on Earthshaker because that person seemed a little confused about how to play the hero effectively. So I don't really do that much to Timbersaw, but the upside is that right now my Wraith King actually has more levels than him. If Timbersaw hits 6 before my Wraith King with like a Soul Ring or something, then what he's going to probably do is use those levels to harass and potentially kill my Wraith King. But because Timbersaw's behind, as long as Aosin does an okay job getting harassed and not getting too harassed, then he's going to be absolutely fine and not get killed. So I'm going to complete this pull. I know that if I partial pull this, then none of the creeps are going to die. Partial pull means like if I just pull a range creep or just one melee creep, then it won't actually do enough. So I'm just pulling this because I know that this is going to give me a little bit more experience than I would be able to get otherwise. So I'm just going to take some of these last hits. And he might run at me here a little bit, but I just really don't care that much. I've got a magic stick that's picking things up. I've just finished my Boots of Speed. We've got a rotation coming from my Gyro, which is really nice. And this is the perfect thing to do, because Gyro is very gankable at this point in the game. Once your like mid gets level 6 or a couple levels, if he comes in ganks your safe lane, it's very easy to kill Timber with overwhelming magic damage. And at this point, Timber doesn't even have a hood or a mask or a cloak or anything, so he's actually very vulnerable to magic damage. Now, because he's dead, I'm going to move over here and get a ward down. Unfortunately, Storm jumped on me. Very clearly he had ward, because that's the only reason he would have gone for this otherwise. Oh, I accidentally clicked on Storm there instead of myself. I didn't realize there. Whoops. I think. Oh, or did I dispel it? I think I cast it on him accidentally. I did a couple things wrong there. Number one, and this is something I kind of figured out throughout the game because I haven't played Oracle in a while. If you're playing Oracle against Storm Spirit, it's generally best to not use Fate's Edict on yourself. Fate's Edict stops somebody from attacking, but it makes them, gives them 100% magic resistance. That means that I would take no damage from magic. Using it on myself was nice because Storm's damage, his overload damage would not deal damage to me, and his remnant damage, if it blows up on me, would not deal damage. But it would have probably been better just for me to use Fate's Edict, because if I just Fate's Edict the Storm instead, what that would do is make sure that Storm cannot... That would make sure that the Storm cannot attack me, and he needs to attack in the first place to deal overload damage. So that basically would have protected me in a big way to make me more survivable in that moment. But very clear that they had a ward. In fact, I'm gonna go check the free camera quick because I don't think I ever de-warded it. Yeah, they just already had a ward up here. That's where he saw me. I figured they had a ward there based on the, like, it was very clear that they had vision of me somewhere when they ended up jumping for me. So they de-ward my ward, which is expected. They saw me walking forward. They obviously will go for the de-ward. I do not remember what I'm doing now. Timbersaw is controlling the safe lane. That's not really something I can offset. If I'm like a blast hero that has a lot of AoE like Grimstroke or Keeper of the Light or something like that, I checked that one because I thought that one would be more likely. And I decided to go for it. I thought about going for it one more time, but put all the nuke into the Earthshaker to kill him pretty quick. Once again, I used my magic resistance on myself, but I still end up taking a lot of damage here. But hey, we killed Timbersaw again, which is great. And I did get, Earthshaker again, and Timbersaw died, so I got experience for the Earthshaker at least. So that was still pretty good for me. I could have like a raindrop would be okay. It doesn't work the best with Fate's Edict, because if Fate's Edict is on your hero, the damage block will be blocked. It'll proc, but I'll also take no damage anyways from Fates, so it's kind of redundant. But if I am not Fates Edicting myself, it can be quite good. With that said, though, I did use a lot of nukes on enemy heroes instead of myself. If I Fates Edicted myself and used it on myself, there would have been a much better chance that I end up staying alive, because I would have had more heal. But my raw armor is pretty bad, and your raw HP on Oracle is generally okay, but not incredible. So you are still pretty vulnerable on Oracle, and it's easy for your hero to die. So for now, I'm just going to try to get some levels here in the mid lane, because I'm just trying to catch up here. So I'm comfortable to walk forward and steal last hits with Purifying Flames. It's one of the best skills for last hitting on supports, because it does 270 damage here at level 3, up to 360 at level 4. So it's a very high damage skill. I regretted not potentially contesting the rune there. That would have been certainly better for us. Let's speed this up while we're waiting. I'm just trying to get these last hits if possible. Now that I've got raindrop though, my survivability's up a bit. Gyro did TP bottom and there are 3 heroes, so I basically thought like, oh, he's fucking dead for sure. I knew that I couldn't teleport as well, so instead I continued to get last hits, and then I saw, oh, there's 2 dead heroes. That's interesting. And then by getting the tome there and picking up 6, I decided to start running into the fight. Wanted to hit him to break his haste. Maybe should have nuked him first, but... Put some heals on him here. Dispelling the shield, getting some damage in. He had a Sal or an urn going on him, so I put the ulti on him. So I wanted him to get that extra heal in. I'm going to run away from Earthshaker if possible. Not enough to save him, unfortunately. It does not stop pure damage. Maybe I could have used my first skill or something like that, but I did, I think, fine there. Maybe I nuked enemies a little bit too much. Maybe I should have healed Cap twice when I used Fate's Edict on him instead of just one. But either way, still got some more experience. Got some more assists under my belt. I'm just going to go hit creeps for a bit because I don't have my ulti anyways, so I could potentially roam with somebody that has a little disable and get kills. In fact, what I probably should do is just go top with Wraith King so that we can pressure the tower, because right now I can't really do that much. I could like sit here and continue to get last hits, but it's kind of a waste of time for me. I saw there was a chip fest. I eventually wanted a spell from somebody else, and it's not really worth committing to this. I can just put a spell on him. Maybe he does something dumb, but I'm going to go group with my allies, which is definitely what I should have done earlier. And then I will send my courier to go get Arcane Boots afterwards. Arcane is kind of mandatory on this hero because you do need a lot of mana regen. Fate's Edict definitely saves Gyro there. Again, you take 0 magic damage, so very easy against Chain Frost. He's the guy in trouble. I give him magic immunity, well, not magic immunity, but full magic resistance for 3.5 seconds. So then Chain Frost does nothing for like 1 bounce or so, plus a heal on top. So a lot of my goal is basically just to like keep people healed up to full. Is the value of the hero. Obviously your ultimate proccing on and keeping people alive when they get gone on is really important too, but it is not always something that you should use in little moments like that. And now I will spend a little mana to heal some Aosin, I think, or maybe I will not. Oh, I traded I see I traded Ben, his neutral item here. Shovel's really good on Oracle because it allows you to dig up salves, and salves can be used on somebody that's being false promised, so it allows you to get double salve benefit on them, which is very good. 40 times 7 is 280, so you could heal them for 560 HP. Yeah, 560 HP if you salve somebody while they're false promised. It's a really good thing to do, on top of the other heals you're doing. So I'm just playing... Oh, I'm doing dewarding stuff for the cliff is what I'm doing right now. Because I want to make sure that we aren't invaded in the meantime. I would say that this is maybe like an effective play. I probably stood around a little bit too much this game. I put a ward now down near Roche because we needed to like see a bit better if they were invading us. But Skeleton King does need help to kill stacks. This is like very normal. I don't remember why I nuked there. I think I was trying to stack it or something like this. You can just power heal somebody like this. See, I don't want to use Fate's Edict because it's going to stop him from attacking. But if I nuke him, he does take damage, but he will always heal more than he takes. Because the damage that's dealt is 360. That gets reduced by magic resistance. So in reality, he's only going to take 3/4 of that. And then the amount of heal that you get is 396. So every nuke doesn't actually heal him a huge amount. It's probably only like 150 or 200. But it will help him finish up the jungling. A little action here, so I'm going to go try to save Cap's life. I probably should have instead, rather than putting that heal on Cap, I should have done it faster, and then I should have started channeling Fortune's End, I think. Because keeping Timber from Timber chaining out would have been a helpful thing to do. So now that we got that kill, we're going to go back on the map again. I'm going to try to nuke this guy if possible. Unfortunately, he clearly has vision of me. I have to use my ulti here to heal myself. Unfortunately, I don't have... Oh, I did move my courier here. Okay, it was here. If I remember... Okay, I remember. I put that sentry down earlier, but I forgot to fly my courier out to check if it was there. So that sucked, because I had to use my ulti to save myself. So now I can't use my ulti to save my teammates there. But it was very clear that they had a ward based on his jump. It was too random. Bringing myself a TP whenever possible. Generally, when you're playing Oracle, you want to stay in really defensive positions. This is not that, really. This is pretty dangerous, but we had a lot of allies nearby, so I felt semi-comfortable. Make sure you hold alt when you do this. That way you don't walk on that blue circle, otherwise your opponents see you. And this was super suicidal. This is why I Fate's Edicted myself. The fact that I walked all the way into vision like this, and then escaped was very dangerous. Now, very important, if Oracle uses Fortune's End on you, it will remove Fate's Edict and Purifying Flame. So I waited until this hit me. I knew this because I watched an Oracle 1v1 mid, which was really weird. But I waited until this hit me before I started healing myself. Because I didn't want it to get dispelled on myself. That will heal me up to full. We end up killing a Lich as a result. Some nice cookie action. Giving some heals, make sure our allies are alive. Got another ward, which felt really good. I got a lot of gold from wards this game, I felt like. And then I'm just trying to put like little observer wards down to spot enemy movements that might help things. And then another ward over here is kind of helpful. That one might not be enough to the right. Yeah, they're going to deward my cliff sentry, which is totally fine. Realize I'm very out of position. My team kind of went crazy on this dive. There's like no way I can get to this one. I'd have to run so far. I mean, there's maybe not vision on the way, but I'm like looking up here. It's like, it's so deep. It's just not even worth it for me to walk towards this. It's better off for me to hit creeps in the meantime. Get a little closer to my items. And Aether Lens is normally the most important thing to buy as an Oracle, but with that said, they have a Storm this game, which means that my survivability is not going to be easy. Because if Storm has his way, what he should do every single team fight is he should find me in the back of the fight, jump me, and kill me. And if he's successful at that, then my ultis don't get to come out, you know? I did not realize that Eosin ran in quite so forward. But it's fine. Let's give him some heals. Oops, accidentally healed myself. Maybe I did that on purpose? I don't remember. Trying to disassemble for my Aether Lens. Okay, there we go. So, more cast range. It's going to make it easier to be in a safe position when I cast spells on my teammates. And farther away from where Storm might be standing. Typically what you want to do is you want to hide in trees. That kind of a thing is the safe thing to do. I'm going to put that on him because I didn't want him to die to Chain Frost. And I want him to be full healed. So I dropped my Aether Lens there to Mango because it was going to give me a higher percentage of heal. Those are mangoes that I dug out of the ground. They still taste good, I promise. In the meantime, Gyro just like solo killed the Storm Spirit. I didn't know what happened over here. What's going on? Okay, so this actually started much earlier. Okay, so he's watching this fight. Storm jumps him. He will wand Surly. And then basically Storm's low on mana. And now he's just going to chase him down, I guess. Storm must not have had TP or something. He did have TP. Okay, Storm just fucked up. Okay, he dodges the first missile. He was going magic damage gyro if that was not obvious. So anyways, he gets that solo kill and I was like, what the fuck? He just solo killed a Storm Spirit as a gyro. What's going on? So I start heading over. Unfortunately, he does die. But not before I get this sick Observer Ward kill. And then watch this. This Timbersaw wastes eons of time on me. I'm literally not concerned about this in the slightest. If I get low, I can just ulti myself, you know? If it gets bad, I can use Fate's Edict and start healing myself, which I will do here. Because things are slightly hairy. A little more damage here. And then we just killed him. It was insane for him to run at me. It's really not worth his time. It's a lot more effective for him to kill anybody else on my team. Unfortunately, I didn't react fast enough to Morphling jumping me, but I did get some good heal off on Cap at least. It's a Spirit Vessel on Cap here. I like that he went aggressive with the blink. I thought that was really good. So he got in there. Blink Dagger, Spirit Vessel, Gyrocopter is Veil, BOTs. He's got Nether Shawl. He's got tons of Spell Amp. And he got the Shard. The Homing Missile Shard, I really thought it was kind of garbage. I didn't think it was very good. Because while it's flying in the air and rocket barraging, I'm like, this just doesn't seem very effective. It doesn't really seem like it does that much damage to justify the network. But later on, you'll see how effective it can be. Once again, healing battery for my homies. I'm trying to buy a Glimmer Cape because clearly I need a way to defend myself against either Storm or Morphling going on me. I was a little unsure about centering the cliff. I probably should have just done it though. Long disable duration there. I'm gonna keep healing him. I think he was fine. If anything, I ultied a little early. Or the fact that I used Fate's Edict and ulti on him was a little bit overkill, but hey, we won a big fight, so it's cool. Now team's going in, and I'm just going to play near them, of course. Now I just got to keep people alive. I knew Storm was going to jump somebody, and I assumed it would be Gyro, which is correct. I actually could have stunned that guy. It would have been really big if I got him, but he was just ball lightning TPing. He was trying to be careful. Missing a lot of mana. I can drop Arcane Boots, or sorry, Aether Lens, and then Mango. I could also do the same by dropping Wand. This is a good way to get your mana back. Because I'm missing, what, 800 mana or something? Oh, watch me do it again. Now I'm only missing, look at that, I used a 20 stick, which is supposed to only be 300 mana, and a Mango, which is 100. So I'm only supposed to have 400 more mana. I was missing 800, so I should still be missing 400. But I'm only missing like 300 mana now. So I gave myself like an extra 100 mana by dropping the Aether Lens. And yeah, I'm out of magic stick charges now, which isn't great obviously, but it keeps me on the map a lot longer, which is really solid. And yeah, I could rebuy Arcane Boots as well, and I did in this case, because I wanted to keep my mana a little bit, our team's mana up a little bit more. This is pretty dangerous. My whole team walked away, and we hadn't been here in a bit, so I kind of deserved to die. Once my TP got interrupted, then I was very dead, because there was no way I was going to run away from this. But it's a really nice ulti from Ben there. Alright, now watch what Gyro does in this fight, dude. Number one, the Rocket Barrage is doing pretty good damage. But the part that I thought was really interesting was how much it does when he just puts it on the ground. Because it takes a while to come up, right? It sits on the ground for a second. And when he does this is when it actually does a huge amount of damage. I guess we didn't get to see it there. It's later on. But you put the missile on the ground, it starts shooting people, and then it flies and hits them. It ends up doing a pretty good... It's a good way to do a lot of damage, actually. Assuming you have Rocket Barrage talents, that's a lot of it, of course. But also means that it does sit there. I think, yeah, he did go Octarine, so he was casting it more often, but... Once again, putting a sentry down to check for wards. Checking for wards. It's a little spooky. I probably should have warded directly above us to get that cliff spot. But we got it fine. I never checked the cliff spot either. I put the sentry down, but I didn't check with my courier when I should have. And anyways, I decided to he is alive. TP just in time. Since they got aggressive here, decent chance there's a ward on that cliff. And since they got aggressive in the area again, I'm gonna go check this one too. Just most common spots. Oh, there's a ward right there. Right next to me is right here. So they put down this one, which is like an alternative. That's like the tough thing about warding sometimes, that it's really nice to have a hero that can check vision high ground without needing a courier. Because in this moment, I would always put the sentry here, right? And then I would check this spot and this spot, because I would put it here, nuke the area, and then I'd find the ward, because this is like the alternative. But if you're lazy and put them on cliffs like this, then that's where they end up being. In fact, they did wards like semi-commonly here. This one's right on top of ward, which is nice. I think we probably did end up getting this. But they're getting aggressive, so... I'm sorry, this is me. Actually, quite a lot of damage from that. Probably ends up dying. So, Gyro's into some shit now, right? Like, Morphling's already dead up there, but he's like behind the tower. So I know this guy's gonna get jumped by Storm or some shit. So the only thing I can do right now is channel Fortune's End on him right now. So watch what happens. So I know that he's gonna get gone on. So there's a chance that I can remove a Dispel or dispel something. And in this case, he's got frickin' Orchid. So he jumps in and gets Orchided, but watch how long it's gonna last. Instantly removed, and it happens to Root Storm. I didn't know this at the time. I just knew that I heard the Orchid sound and I probably countered it. But that hits him, that roots him, and now he can't jump around. He just has to stand still attacking, which basically makes like his whole gameplay so much harder. Which actually in a lot of ways set up like what Merlin did with a really good ultimate. So that is the power of channeling this on your allies sometimes, is that you can basically hold it on them, and then the longer that it holds, the more of a window you have to potentially remove like an Orchid. And obviously Storm cannot like anticipate that hitting or not, but the fact that it did like completely changes that moment, because then it sets up, you know, it sets up the Storm in place, because he's standing there for 2.9 seconds rooted. Do you have BKB? He might have used it earlier, is what happened. So now we get to go high ground because we won this engagement. I bought a new neutral item. I got Pupil's Gift because it's lots of HP and a little bit of armor, which is going to help keep me alive. And then I'm just going to sit down here and try to keep my team as healthy as possible, because I do not want anybody to die. That was cool. Ben cut the top creep wave, which is going to help the top tower take damage. Get our next objectives done. And I finished Holy Locket. I probably should have gone like a defensive item first, like Glimmer Cape or something. But they didn't really do a great job diving me for whatever reason. Probably just because my teammates were doing a really good job being aggressive is the main reason why. But realistically, I should die really fast in every fight. And going for Holy Locket first is probably overkill. Even though it's great. It's a 30% heal increase. And then now I just get exploded. That was really bad by me. I was really focused on saving, and I wasn't thinking enough about the rest of the fight. Alright, watch this rock up damage here. Look at that. It just does like an absolute insane amount of damage. Because each rocket barrage does like 600 damage or something. 380 times 3. It's actually fucking insane how much damage it is. Look at this. Isn't that insane? So with Spell Amp, it does 44 times 10 seconds. That's 440 damage times 3. That's like 12,000 damage per rocket barrage. 440 times 3. 1320 damage per rocket barrage over 3 seconds. It's freaking insane. And then if he veils, it's even more, obviously. He went into melee range because he knew he wouldn't survive there. Oh, I didn't notice he had a bracer. Interesting. Guess having a little bit more regen is not bad. Anyways, I am TPing. Oh, I could have TP'd Shrine. That was a huge mistake. There was not a ward there. I should not be fucking around over here, actually. This is really stupid. I should be walking to my teammates. And then Ben just finds like a monster LP. Save his life a little bit. Trying to heal him as much as I can. But I maybe should have ran a little bit more. Cap went right click damage, so oops. He's gonna end up dying here too. We killed the Morphling. It's not all bad, but it's not great, obviously. So I bought Psychic Headband, so more cast range, and I could push people away. Obviously, I need a Glimmer. If I have Glimmer there, I can just Glimmer and TP, or Glimmer and dodge, but I didn't have one, so I just died super easily. That's why it was bad what I did. I went a little bit hard, probably healing the Gyro. I did save his life and delayed things, but it didn't really like produce a good outcome afterwards. There was like too much shit going on. So I'm just gonna try to regain control here. Sorry, checking. Oop. And then I got like exploded here. Checking the cliff. Saw the ward was not here. And then I instantly die. Clearly they had vision of me because they initiated on me from nothing. So there's clearly a ward in the area. Bad time to look at my hero. Oh, he bought back on Gyro, I see. Almost enough for my item, and I'm gonna go check for the ward. There it is. Because I knew they had vision of me, so that was the most likely spot. Fortunately, I do not have a ward here. I put the sentry again. Same shit. I put the sentry in like a good spot. I want vision. When we're pressuring this tower, I almost always want vision on the tri-camp because it's common for people to come from behind, basically. And if we retreat, we'll be retreating to that spot. Kind of suicided to put more heal out here, but... We did save him, but I kind of died easy, unfortunately.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
More sentries and wards. There could be a ward on that cliff. In fact, let's go check it. Oh, it's just a sentry, so I lucked out, but there could have been a ward up here, and we wouldn't. My team would think that there isn't. It's a dangerous thing about me doing what I just did there. That is Ags for the Morphling. Very good damage with DD. I'll try to save Cap, but he seems fine. He's gonna cut the creep wave. Black holes him to interrupt.
Voice chat wheel line.
Now as we're preparing to go high ground, just putting a little wards on. Having extra cast range here is pretty nice. Begging my team to kill the sentry so we can protect the observer ward. You can cast this on people while they're Yules, by the way. Desperately trying to go invis, but I get chain stunned, unfortunately. I shouldn't have been that far forward, that's my fault. I didn't need to be that far forward with my team. That's a lot of damage. Dude, the invis actually saved him. This is fucking bonkers. I could not believe it. That shit was crazy. Oh no, Storm came from. Now I used to blink away up from where Storm went. Dude, this shit's good. Trickster Cloak, man, that free that's like free Shadow Blade. It's a very powerful item. Alright, and now I got Blast Rig. That way when I get jumped on by either Storm or Morphling, I can potentially survive, and I have more physical damage, so I switched it up. Sometimes something like a Blink Dagger is a really good option on the hero. White is not looking so good. It was a good dodge. I'm a little bit worried about getting jumped on right now. Worried about him getting jumped on too, so I'm gonna throw this on him. Now I'm just standing around. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, that's right. They gave me the shard because I was like the only person that didn't have it other than Steven, but he's a Wraith King and they don't have mana burn, so it's not necessary. Then there's a Telescope, which is kind of the same as a Psychic Headband, but a little better for my team because it gives them all cast range too, so I kind of felt they need to have it. So what this does is, False Promise, now your ulti has a fade delay to go invisible. So if I ulti somebody, they'll go invis when they're in trouble. So if they're stunned, it's really effective, obviously, because could be like a disengage kind of a thing. They go invisible, they stop taking damage, everything's good, you know? Alright, same thing again, we're going to sit back. I decided to finally build an Aeon Disc, which I probably should have bought earlier because there aren't a whole lot of other items that'll keep you alive here. I'm just going to sit in the trees because I don't want them to know where I am, but I still want to be like kind of close to cast range. Just like waiting for my allies to jump in. Or to hit buildings. Steven's just going to YOLO in. A little unnecessary of a buff, but I'm gonna throw that on Storm or Morphling so he can't get away. Just Lincoln's though, unfortunately, so I shouldn't have channeled. Once again, sitting very, very far back to be safe. My team is going north now, but I can't walk straight across. I'd get picked off like right here on the map. So I'm gonna walk the long way. Now I'm just putting sentries everywhere in case. And give him a little bit of heal. Spooky for me. Glimmer in case there's follow-up. Throwing disable on heroes, that's good to disable. And now when my team goes in, I can follow up. Throwing damage to kill this guy. Saving my ulti until somebody really needs it, and that guy really needed it. Heal everyone. Luckily he didn't attack me directly there, that's why those... I thought I was 100% sure. I thought I was 100% dead, but he didn't attack me directly, it hit Aosin both times, so the AoE that was dealt to me was blocked by Fate's Edict is why I didn't die. But I had a fun time this game. Felt like I had decent saves. I did sit around a lot, and obviously I was very carried, but that's kind of the goal of Oracle, right? Is that you sit behind your cores, you don't die too fast, and you allow them to have like 2 lives. He's like a standard save hero, standard like support, keep people alive hero. So it was fun. I had a nice time, and it was fun to watch Gyro play this game. He did a really good job. Didn't die very much, had tons of spell damage. Cool build. Kaisange, E-Blade Veil. Makes a lot of sense. Just tons of spell amp. Tons and tons of amplifier, and he got good magic damage talents. It all worked out nice. All right, cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you later. Bye.